I had some notes.
That's all right. The fact
Uh,
that you took the notes is probably more than most folks have done. That's
yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
PNL live. Hey, we're live, Larkin. I don't know if you know this, but we're live here.
All right, let's do
So
it.
look, man. There's a. It, I mean, the season's basically, dual meet season's over. It's just the postseason now. I don't know. I wanted to get some kind of overall thoughts on the season, but like, there's some stuff like that is tricky to unpack because moving in, like, going into February, you you look at Oklahoma State and you go, ooh, they might be the second best team in the country, and they get exposed by Iowa, and then you get teams like Michigan who can beat Iowa, and so you just and we all know it's a race for second, like, which sucks to say,
Yeah.
and not that, like, I hate Penn State, but like, it's sucks knowing who's going to win the national title before the tournament starts. It kind of sucks. Um, so overarching thoughts on this season and as it pertains to duels, especially.
Uh, I feel like back in the day, you always have to wrestle unless like you were really injured. There's a lot more strategy that goes into it now, with keeping kids fresh, and they kind of everything's monitored off the individual. Before it was like the whole group and how everyone was feeling, but I feel like they individualize it a lot more, on how kids are feeling and hold people from duels and strategically not trying to wrestle a certain person two or three times during the year. So the duels seem a little bit different. It seems like like some of the duels, they make a big push to have all the studs out there, but that doesn't always happen. Uh,
Who do you think does the best job of that? Who do you think does the best job of putting their A squad on the mat for duels?
uh, uh, shoot. I mean, I really do think Penn State does. I think Penn
Yeah.
State puts their best guys out there. I mean, it's some of the times a kid's injured, but uh, Missouri does, right? I think Nebraska does a pretty good job.
Well,
Uh,
Missouri just brought a skeleton crew to Iowa State.
yeah, yeah. I mean, not
So,
consistently.
right, but I would tend to agree with you, with the exception of this past weekend. They generally put their A squad
Yeah,
on the mat.
and
That
I
said, go
understand
ahead.
not. Yeah, I understand not this last weekend. It was gonna be like that. I
Why?
mean,
You say it. You say it.
well, just you, guys that have good seeds and good rankings. You don't want to risk a loss and move a spot. Uh, but then also just keeping kids a little more fresh. Maybe giving them a little bit of time off before they start hitting it hard right before the big
Mm,
tournaments. What
yeah,
do you think?
I think it's hard to beat David Carr 3 times in a year. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Like, let's call it what it is. Like,
Yeah,
David
man.
Carr is real good at wrestling.
Yeah.
Real good. Like, it's not like he's a one trick pony that can just wrestle on a knee. That dude can scramble with Keegan. Like, that dude has ridden
Yeah.
Keegan. Like, he is a son of a gun in all positions. And I know Keegan. And I know if it were up to him, he'd go, yeah, I want to wrestle him every day. I want to wrestle him every day. But it's not. It's Smith's call. And
Yeah.
Smith's
Yeah.
smart. Smith's way smart. Like, he is far more intelligent than anyone gives him credit for. Okay. He has built Missouri wrestling into a brand. Okay. You can
Yeah. Absolutely.
Penn
Absolutely.
State is a brand, Oklahoma State is a brand, Iowa is a brand, Iowa State now is a brand, but Missouri, you can call it what you want, but they are a brand. Okay. And they are, while they're not perennial trophy winners, they're right up there, right? Like, they are
Hmm.
now. All that to say this is what we saw. Missouri. basically come and look. Are some guys banged up? Yes, of course. Everybody's banged up in February. There's nobody that's 100%. Like, yeah. So, like, I don't want to hear people say, "Oh, well, you don't know who's injured and who's." Everybody's injured.
Everybody's injured. Yeah.
Like, there's nobody that doesn't have a
100%.
broken finger right now. There's nobody. There's no, like, I'm 47. I'm 40 something years old. I have broken fingers right now. They're ugly, dude. Okay.
So if I got them every day.
Every day. So it's like, we're in our 40s. If we got busted fingers, these dudes are, these guys are the walking wounded.
Yeah.
That said, though, is there a way?
You said what?
No, I said, that said, though, is there a way to avoid this? Is there a way to make duels more important? Is there a way to put gravity to a duel?
Yeah. That's a good question. I think I've heard some different ideas on that. I really don't have any, because at the same time, the duels really don't matter.
They don't matter.
So I kind of
let's
look
call
at
it. No, don't say really.
So
don't. They don't matter at all. They don't.
However, to grow the sport and to get fans and to get the entertainment around it, we've got to grow that part, and that's going to come from making sure all the best guys are in the lineup.
Yeah.
But then,
right.
But how?
Okay. May I? Because I have a couple thoughts. Okay. What if, and like, I hope that people come at me for this online. Truly. I truly do. I hope, like, I'm inviting every hater. I'm not going to look at your comments, but I'm just inviting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What if we did this? Penn State, Oklahoma State, Arizona State. I think those are the dual meet champion. No, it can't be. Right? Who won the dual meet championship for Pac-12? I'm not even sure. It doesn't matter. Point is, the dual. Yeah, I think it might have been Oregon State. Whatever. So, point is, though, that the dual meet champion from every single conference gets an extra 25 points at the NCAA tournament as soon as it starts.
Whoa.
Right?
Okay.
So that's a champion. Okay. That's like having
points.
That's monster points. That's like having someone win in the finals.
Yeah.
Okay. 25 points. The second place conference dual meet, whatever. So if Penn State was first, looks like Michigan's second. Okay. Michigan gets 17 points. Okay. So that's like a semifinalist, I think. Whatever. Nomad would give me this stuff. But
yeah.
Let's call it, even if it's 15 points, whatever.
Okay.
And then third place in your conference for duels gets 10 points, an extra 10 points.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Right, this year you have the Pac-12 has 5 teams. I mean, is it going to be weighted different because placing top 3 in the Big 10, Big 12 means a little bit more? Like,
for sure, at least that's what I don't. No, it does. It 100% does. But I don't think we can do that right now. I think the idea has to be to bolster each competition, bolster the competition in each conference, right?
Yeah.
So like while I don't think the ACC has very many, I know they don't have very many teams, but I do think they're probably more competitive than the EIWA, which is, I mean, it's Cornell and Lehigh, right? And then everybody else.
Yeah.
Right. So, but if you want to just look at like competitive, like Pitt's competitive, you can call it what you want, right? Like it's NC State and it's Virginia Tech, but Pitt's competitive. UNC's competitive, maybe not so much Duke, but the point is that like well, let's all get to that competitive level. And do I love the idea of giving a MAC team 25 points just to start out? No. But what if those MAC teams can now point to an NCAA finish and say, hey, recruit that I would never have a chance to get, look, we finished in the top 20 this year. And that recruit can either do his due diligence and say, oh, well, it was only because they won a really shitty MAC conference, or they can be like, wow, that's pretty cool. They didn't win the MAC conference, and it helped them at the NCAA tournament. And so now you're bolstering the overall economy, so to speak, of.
So then you want to go win that conference.
You got to go win the conference.
So now you
like,
got to
even if it's
duels.
the crappy, even if it's the MAC, right? Which is, whatever. It's not the best conference. It's the worst conference out there right now, I guess, probably. So, or the SoCon, I don't know, whatever. The point is, each one, okay, now you have a reason to travel to Duke. Like, and there's something on it. You know what I mean? Like, going to App State, there's something on it. Like, because otherwise, what does it matter? It doesn't matter right now.
So right now, these conferences, if you win a conference, you're getting some money, right? There's some monetary reasoning behind that. Like, if you take first, you get a little bit more, or
sure.
Is that in there? Do you know?
I think that's true for the bigger conferences. Yeah, Big Ten.
Okay. So, but obviously that really doesn't make the guys. I mean, if it's going to add 25 points to a national tournament, that's going to go a lot further than
the $2 grand, the $7 grand.
Yeah.
I mean,
whatever
that is I don't know how much it is, and I don't even know if that's 100% true. But
yeah, I don't either. I thought I heard that though. Maybe not.
I think but again, like, we're talking about, even if it's 20 grand and it's going to Penn State University, that is a drop in a freaking bucket. Like, they just, I mean, that is. They have that 20 grand, if it were a donor, wouldn't get you a seat in the front row. So it's like, let's call it what it is, right? So I think we have to find a way to put gravity on these dual meets. And there are people that are like a good friend of mine, and I guess I'll take his stance with you, because he's not on the line right now, but he's dead set against duels. He said, no, I think it's terrible. I think it's a bad. It goes against what I teach at my club. And Matt Ciempa is who I'm talking about. He's a Jersey guy that he and I go back and forth about wrestling quite a bit. And I actually have a tremendous amount of respect for his opinion, although I disagree with him quite a bit. But he says, like, look, duels bring out the worst in our sport. How many times have you heard a kid dropping down and cutting way too much weight just to win a duel to help the team? How many times have you heard of a kid that is told, hey, stay off your back, and the team wins? That things like that do bring negative aspects to our sport. But at a college level, I think it's pretty hard to argue that this is the number one needle mover in our sport.
Yes. Yep.
So how else can we?
I really like that point thing, establishing points. So then you want to go win those duels. I'll think about that. I don't know.
Yeah. So I guess the idea has to be, okay, we say this, right? And here we are as, let's call it representatives of the PNL.
Okay.
I think as we grow to 32 teams, I believe we'll be at 32 teams real soon.
Yeah.
Something like that. Is that right, Larkin?
Or a little more than that.
Okay.
But
I
yeah.
think it's 32, 36 is the last I heard.
Yeah. Yep.
We need to show the world that it can be done. Like we can put gravity on dual meets. Now, I know Skinny's been trying to put together a dual meet event, and it's tougher because of budgets and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yep.
But
And finding the
if
right dates. I just talked to him about it yesterday. They're trying to do it in June,
it's brutal,
right?
I get
It's
it.
brutal. It's a brutal
But
time.
so here, okay, and like I'm not saying that we're going to take over the world, but I'm pretty sure we're going to take over the world.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. We're gonna
um,
get there.
yeah. So I think what we have to do is lead by example, right? So we can show the NCAA who,
Ooh,
while
yeah,
they're
yeah.
a monster entity, we can show them that like, oh no, this will work. This will work. So I think what we have to do is find, and this is, I'm speaking more to Skinny through you, is like, okay, yes, duels are important. We all agree. But how do we do it? Because, like you said, finding a date is impossible. Because I remember working at Flow and I was trying to put together those cards. Finding a time of the year was the most difficult part. Everyone was like, yeah, we're down, but when? You want to do it in May because that's the trials. Do you want to do it in February because we still got college kids that we have to train? So it's like, do you want to do it in July? Our ones won't be there, right? Because our ones are training for the world championships. So it's like, when do you do it? When do you do it?
Yeah.
So
We've talked about that for a while. We haven't came to a good conclusion. However, as we grow, there's certain tournaments that we can just compete on that same weekend. Like for instance, we're having our national tournament, I think the same weekend as Tulsa now for our younger group, which is going to be big. I'm excited about that.
yep.
We're not there till midnight, starting at 6 a.m., 3 days in a row, right? And PNL, I mean, we have it down and start a little bit later and early. It's nice.
No,
Uh,
and
yeah. So
also
it's
they're the negative. We all know the other
yeah, but
negatives that
yeah,
come
yeah,
with
yeah.
those types of tournaments. The
Craziness.
insanity, right? The pure insanity. We can talk about that for a little bit because I actually got off the phone last night. Skinny kind of tasked me with um, finding a group or a club in New Jersey, and that has been a challenge for us at the PNL. And if we're going to be completely honest about it, the reason it's been such a challenge is because Jersey is a bunch of psychos. Like they are a bunch of psychos. And, so I got off the phone with a couple club owners, and I think the where I left it was I left it at, hey, you're going to have a serious conversation with your parents. Like we're not
Yeah.
messing around we are not messing around about this. Like there are no dads on the mats. There are no, screaming, yelling, cursing. There is none of
It's
that.
so nice. It's so nice.
That's the other thing that people don't get is like how awesome it is to like
Yeah.
have Kyler Sanderson just high five your kid and go, "We get him next time, bub. We're gonna get him next time." That's a high level athlete, high level coach going, "Hey, we're gonna get him next time." Because guess what?
Yep.
This ain't the biggest deal in the world right now, you
Yep.
know. But it
Yeah.
is nice. And so, what would you say to clubs? Because it's
Oh,
tricky.
I like your sweater.
Yeah. Go Zeke. What's funny about that? And we'll get back to the parents and stuff. But Zeke, they're sponsored by Adidas, right?
Uh-huh.
And he actually he loves Champion sweats so much that he just brings in the Champion people just for the tops and the bottoms of the sweats because they're like they're bar none. They're the
Dude,
best.
that's funny because that's how our group is. We've been getting champion sweats and yeah, they're the best.
They're the
They're
best. They're the
thick. It's
best.
perfect. Yeah.
Yes. So, but okay. So, what would you say to a club owner in New Jersey if they were looking to join the PNL?
Well, you would, yeah, exactly. You'd have to have them address their parents and say, hey, this is the model that PNL has established, and moving forward, they even want to tighten it up even more. Uh,
Well, what is that?
I
Well, what
think
is that? What is so again? And I'm not saying this just for the people listening. I'm saying it for myself. How do you explain what we're
okay.
trying to
So
achieve?
if I had to address my parents,
Hmm.
which I've done it individually, but as a whole, if I addressed them, I would say, look, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to pull the parents and that stress away from the kids while they're competing. We just want them to compete, let their coaches handle it. You be a parent and comfort them or praise them. You play that role in the stands after the match. They don't need to hear you yelling. Not only does that stress them out, it takes away from the coach athlete relationship while they're on the mat. I mean, when I hear parents screaming over my shoulder, I've literally got up and just walked
Walk
away.
away.
Like I'm
I
not
walk away.
I'm not going to sit there and do this. The
No,
kid's
I'm
not
not going
even
to get.
looking at me.
Yeah.
So I think that's the
Wait,
kind
can
of
I pause the story
conversations
there?
you got.
Can I
Yeah.
pause the story right there? I had a guy. I had
Uh,
a guy scream. This is when I was a young coach, so I guess I was more tolerant to this crap. Screaming bloody murder over my shoulder, screaming bloody
oh,
murder. And the kid goes out of bounds. And this is the furthest point from us, right? So visualize he's on the complete other side of the
yeah,
mat.
yeah, yeah. Got it.
And his dad is screaming bloody murder for 2 periods. And then he's going into the third. And I'm trying to get his attention. I'm like, hey, hey. And the guy's like, look at your coach. I'm like, um, you know, you just screamed at him for 2 periods and then you want him to look at me? Like, I don't know.
Uh,
And so,
yeah,
you know, I think it's gotten better over the last 20 years.
yeah. I think it's
But
been getting better, especially since we started the P&L. I think our message is starting to get out there, at least to some extent. Obviously, those little kid tournaments, it's hard. Those parents aren't
mm,
even watching stuff like this. They're
mm,
just going in and watching it's cockfighting.
yeah,
So
yeah,
they just want to go out there and yell and start fights with parents. That's going to be hard to change, but I guess it's going to start from the top and just has to trickle down.
yeah. And again, having the conversation becomes, I think, the the biggest step. It's the biggest step. Hey, we're not gonna act like animals. We're not gonna act like animals. And like all you have to do is say that, like set that precedent once, and I think it goes a long way. Even the psycho dads, like I've seen, like we have psycho dads in Poway, for sure we do. But
Everyone
they,
has some.
for sure. But what I'm saying is they don't rear their heads come competition time because it's just everybody would look at him like, "What are you doing, dude? Like, what are you nuts? Come on, bro! Like, you screaming like that, you know, and you're yelling at your kid and you're shaking your kid. Like, stop! Like, what are you like?" So it has to be a cultural thing, number one,
Yeah.
but that culture starts with a very simple conversation, and I think it's not nearly as difficult as it has been in the past to have these conversations. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you can hold each other accountable with each group. Parents can hold each other accountable, but that also when parents are heated up during a match and another parent's like, "Hey, dude, calm down," that might not go over very well. But
Right.
at the end of every tournament, a coach or I don't know, just pick somebody. Hey, can you just take some notes on what you think about these parents? You get some notes and then sit them down. Say, "Hey, this is what we're trying to do. just be a parent, relax. The more that you yell at them, the harder you're on them, the more stress they have, which takes away from their energy for the match. Maybe they'll help them understand that you're only hurting them.
Mm.
And in order to help them, take that stress away. But that's got to come from the coaches to the whole group, because I mean, parents can hold each other accountable if you're real good friends and stuff. But when you don't really know someone, they're on your team, and you're like, "Hey, dude,
Yeah.
calm down." And they're like, "I'm not listening to
Yeah.
you."
Yeah. That gets gnarly. That gets
Yeah.
gnarly. All right. Do we want to talk about? We should at least unpack um, Iowa and Oklahoma State. That was a little bit more lopsided than I thought it was going to be. Did you wind up watching the duel? I know last time we spoke, you hadn't caught up to it yet.
I caught some highlights. I didn't get around to watching it, but my boys did, so they were kind of filling me in on it. I just listening to John going to the locker, like I didn't expect that to happen. Like
Yeah,
was pretty, yeah,
I
crazy.
love.
But
Here's the thing, though. I think ESPN did a great job on the coverage, like a putting a headset, putting a mic on John at the half. Because he doesn't. Here's the beauty of John W. Smith. He doesn't have a filter ever. So, like, I shouldn't say ever, but like, it's like he knows press conferences, he has to act and speak a certain way. But when you get him in the shit like that and you just stick a headset on him, oh man, he not only is he not like ready for it, but like you could tell he was being reserved, okay, in saying that. But you like every emotion was coming out of like these guarded words, and it was kind of cool to see. Brands, on the other hand, was just as well. We got to wrestle. Thanks, coach. Appreciate that. Thank you. Okie dokie.
yep.
That's really
Hmm.
insightful. And they are, um, yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky. But anyway, so 25 um, is this kid from Iowa? What's his name?
Spread. Oh, from Iowa.
Ayala.
Ayala. Yeah.
Is he like so? If you had to, because 25 has been such a mess. Okay, if you had to choose a national champion right now, who would it be?
I
Oh, I
know
got
that.
you.
No, well, the way that I said, I'm gonna go with Richie Figueroa.
Nice.
The way that I see him, his improvements and really getting disciplined from afar,
Mm,
obviously, and then obviously my kid goes there, but these guys at ASU started stepping up. They figured it out. And it seems like they do that every year. They
right.
just go through these dual seasons trying to survive them pretty much, and then get it all together. They peak at the right time. I think Richie. I would go with Richie right now. I'll put my money on
Really.
Rich.
He's
Yeah,
as
I
talented.
think
He's as, if not more talented than anyone on the
I
mat.
think when he's put into that, when he's in that tournament, he's not going to give in to being tired. Any doubt, any weakness, I think he's just gonna go be Richie Figueroa and just be the
Mm,
man. I really think he's gonna get it done.
that's
What about you?
interesting. Well, going into this weekend, I would have said Spratley because
Hmm.
I love the way he competes. I just love the way he fires and the way he competes. That said, I think Ayala shut him down by like staying on his right knee so much that I
Yeah.
have a hard and like that is that is a simple fix, not an easy fix. Okay. When somebody wrestles you on a knee, it is very simple to say, okay, approach cautiously with your hands down, pull them into short offense, or, whatever. But if you're not a front headlock guy, if you're not a a short offense guy, then that can be a daunting thing. Like say, hey, I don't love being in front headlocks. I don't love, being in this chest wrap. I don't love this stuff. I'm used to being in elbow control or inside control or collar tie. So I think going into this weekend, I don't know. I probably will still say Spratley because I like the way he competes. Like you and I have brought it up, like the little stuff in between the whistles that he does to just jack with kids.
He's a monster. Yeah, he's good.
He's good.
Yeah,
He's real good at
yeah,
wrestling.
I could go with him very easily too.
Sure, but this kid Ayala's right there, and again, like we're saying nothing, right? Because like
Yeah,
because oh, we should wrestle in March. Oh, I think they might do that, and that's not why people tune into this. But I love this weight class so much because we don't have any idea what's going to happen. There are a multitude of different things that could happen. That kid up at Stanford, that kid's talented. That kid's good. Nico Provo is
Provo.
really, really good.
Yeah, Provo. Yeah, he
You know
is.
what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Kaler, dude, just the Pac-12, right? Like just the
Yeah.
Pac-12. Like, and guess what? By the way, they're only taking 2. The allotments came out this weekend. They're only
So
taking 2.
have they put the bracket up yet?
No.
Ooh, I want to see that. That's
No.
scary for one of those big dogs.
For sure. How about
But
the kid from Cal
the,
Poly? That kid Dom Mendez is not right. Dom something. The kid's good. He's really good.
yeah.
Like there's 4 kids that probably should be at the national tournament.
Do you think? Okay. Do they ever give wild cards 2 to 1 weight class? Like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
if
No, they do. Well, the allotment is done by committee now after
I think they put
everyone
that out? I
qualifies.
haven't seen it yet though.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
Oh,
taking
okay.
2. So, but the allotment is done after everyone qualifies.
Yeah,
It's
you're
done
right.
by jury. So it's not like it
Yep.
was when we were kids and they just have specific weight classes to get X amount of wild cards or whatever.
Yep.
That said, though, do I think that they will take 2 at 25 from the Pac-12? No, I don't. No, because that they're gonna. I mean, even if it's 9 coming out of the Big
Yeah.
Ten, they're probably still going to wind up taking more, right? Because it's the Big Ten and they show up and they're in the middle of the country and they can
Yep.
travel and they can, so there's a million different reasons why. But yeah, look, long story short, some good wrestlers not going to Kansas City, if I had to guess, from the Pac-12.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
Wow. That sucks. It
it is
is
what
what
it
it
is,
is.
right?
Yeah.
All right. Anything else that we can take away from that Iowa Oklahoma State duel? Selling out Gallagher Iba Arena is not a bad thing. That's a good thing, even if it's
Yeah.
Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see them put more asses in the seats for not Iowa, right? But it is Stillwater, Oklahoma. There's like 17 people in the town, so I would like to see them put more butts in the seats overall. But aside from that, it's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Going up Gallagher Iba.
I never got to wrestle in Gallagher Arena.
No,
I don't think I did. No, I never
they're
did.
they're not quite as mean as the folks in Iowa City,
Uh-huh.
but they are probably more passive aggressive, maybe a little bit more clever with their insults. But yeah, it's still a great place to wrestle. It really is because the people that show up, they know wrestling. They know wrestling.
Yeah,
Real well.
that's what's fun when the crowd knows what's going on. That's a
Yeah.
blast.
Yeah, that's a good time. Okay, we have to thank our sponsors. Skinny just got to me. Sorry, Rudis. Sorry about that, Jocko Fuel. Yes, I will put that stuff in the beginning of the show when I post it on Spotify and stuff like that. But thank you very much to Rudis. Thank you very much to Jocko Fuel. And thank you very much to Eric Larkin for jumping on and sharing some time with me here on PNL Live.
Thanks for having me. I enjoy it. It's fun.
All right, big dog. I'll talk to you next week.
All right, later.
But